Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Diplomatic Enclave. I'm your host, Khalid. But we have the privilege of having with us on this very auspicious day of Eid al-Azha, Eid al-Isar, an ambassador who belongs also to a Muslim country. He is none other than the ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary of the Republic of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, Mr. H.E.Yerzhan Kistafin. Thank you very much, Mr. Kistafin, to have joined us, and Eid Mubarak to you and to your loved ones.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. Eid Mubarak to you as well.
Excellency Kistafin, the first question, before we go to other questions, regards Eid. We regard Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Azha as very auspicious days. It's a day where we get together with family. For Eid al-Azha or Eid al-Isar, we get together with the people that we love, and we eat the meat that has been, of the animal that has been sacrificed, and it's more or less a family reunion. How similar or different is the festivity that happens in Kazakhstan on Eid al-Azha?
In fact, it is one of the most important, I must say, one of the most important days for the Muslim community, and officially it's a holiday in Kazakhstan, and it's widely, celebrated just like in Pakistan. As you know, Kazakhstan, 70% of our population belongs to Muslims, Hanafi, same mazhab. So in terms of traditions of celebrating Eid, I think we have almost the same, just like here in Pakistan.
Wonderful. And I think it's very important to continue to, understand the philosophy and the mindset behind events such as these. Because for us Muslims, it's extremely important not only to understand the reasoning behind it, but also how important is it to forego our egos and to sacrifice all that is not in our favor for the good of the mankind and for those around us. This is also one of the message that Eid al-Azha has. In fact, how important is helping the less fortunate for the government of Kazakhstan, especially in days such as these?
I fully agree with you. We have to understand the deep meaning of this very important, celebration of Eid. And in fact, in Kazakhstan, in our society and our government is in general creating kind of environment of, mercy. We are trying to develop these kind of, charity foundations to support those people who are in need, to give this hand, to extend hand to those people who needs help, and in general to develop such kind of society where we support those people who who are not, let's say, successful as other people. And in this term, we are especially focused very much on such kind of groups in our society. We are establishing, for example, different charity foundations, schools for families with low income, so on and so forth. So in fact, in Kazakhstan today, I must say that our, in general, charity is growing and booming, especially our young generation. They do understand that they have to support other people because they are just, their fellow citizens, and we have to develop such kind of approach to each other.
I think that's very important. I think the approach is to bind people together, of especially the less fortunate with the fortunate ones, and to make those who do not have the same facilities as those who have, that they are also as equal members of the society, of the nation, as are the others. And I think Eid al-Azha is such an important reminder for all the Muslims living in whichever part of the world they are, and I'm sure you agree with me on that as well. Coming to also so many other developments that have happened in Kazakhstan, the Astana International Forum that was recently held under the theme Connecting Minds and Shaping the Future. It was also, one of the aims was to strengthen international cooperation. Your president also addressed that forum. Would you like to give some highlights of that forum? What were the basic objectives and were they achieved?
In fact, when our president addressed the audience, he stressed that today in the world, we face so many different challenges, different war conflicts. So our country from the very beginning was in favor of the peaceful diplomatic solutions. And our president stressed several times that we need to develop cooperation We need to develop partnership. We have to overcome all the disagreements, differences that we have for the benefit, for the sake of our future generations. Because, whatever we do, we are developing our long-term, I would say, long-term strategy, long-term vision. And at the end of the day, whatever we do to develop collaboration, it should be beneficial for our generations to come. So this is why the main message of our president was, let's develop cooperation, let's establish partnership, mutually beneficial. Let's do something at least to stop these conflicts that we face today in the world. And another very important part of this, of his speech, was dedicated to the United Nations Security Council. He said that Kazakhstan supports this idea to reform the Security Council of the United Nations and to engage other countries as well. Because as of today, unfortunately, what we see, sometimes resolutions of the Security Council, they are not, implemented, and
or they are vetoed by one member, which makes the issue more difficult.
Exactly, it's a stalemate. It's a stalemate. So that's why we see that in general, the United Nations should be reformed in order to make it more flexible, in order to make it, a real, universal platform for addressing and solving those problems that we face today.
That's a very interesting point of view that your president has. But when he talks of reforms, what kind of reforms does your president have in mind when it comes to the UNSC?
In general, when it comes to UNSC, the idea is to, as I said, to engage other countries, at the regional, I would say, basis, and then to have a kind of open platform for discussions, for dialogue. So this is the main, I would say, key points of our stance on this very important issue today. And what we believe is that the United Nations still should be the platform, the universal platform, with the main purpose to develop our world, to contribute to strengthening ties between different nations. And if we face any kind of problems, these problems should be resolved at the platform of the United Nations, including the Security Council.
And I think that's great, because that is why the United Nations was, established in 1945.
After the Second World War.
Exactly, the main aim was to resolve conflicts.
Exactly.
But speaking of conflicts, there are two major conflicts. There are three major conflicts. There is the Russia-Ukraine, then there is the Palestine conflict, and then the recent India-Pakistan conflict that also escalated. Let's begin with the India-Pakistan conflict. Now that there is a ceasefire, but of course there was a conflict, there was a lot of tension in the region because we are two nuclear-capable nations as well. What is Kazakhstan's official point of view as far as this conflict is concerned, and resolution of the issues that exist between two countries?
First of all, just like I said, Kazakhstan advocates for implementing the United Nations Security Council's resolutions, and in this term as well. Secondly, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs officially made a statement urging both sides to exercise restraint. In fact, what we need to do, we need to build trust. To build trust, we have to be focused on developing, our cooperation in a security domain. And in this term, we have to so-called develop confidence-building measures. And this is why, for example, back in 1992, at the United Nations General Assembly, Kazakhstan officially proposed to establish the Conference on Interaction and Confidence-Building Measures in Asia. And what we believe is that this platform, just like the United Nations, should serve to this very noble, I would say, purpose, to this noble mission, to create these connections between countries, to develop cooperation between countries, and to contribute to overcoming the problems that we face, disagreements, differences. And in this term, Kazakhstan was very clear, saying that we are not in favor of this kind of war conflicts. We can sit and discuss. We are, we live, after all, in the 21st century.
That is what Pakistan believes as well,
Yes,
Excellency,
exactly.
that all things need to be sorted out on the negotiating table.
And we fully support this approach. We should sit and discuss. After all, it will be and it should be beneficial for not only India and Pakistan, but it will be beneficial for the entire region. Believe me, because in this term, Kazakhstan, for example, India is a partner of India is a partner of Kazakhstan. Pakistan is also a very important partner. And what we see is that, for example, developing our regional connectivity, we could also boost our collaboration with India via Pakistan. And again, Pakistan could serve as a connecting hub of the entire Central Asian region, even many other countries from big Eurasia, as we call it, with India. And we fully support this idea that we should sit at the table, discuss, and try to find a compromise, a peaceful solution to the problems that we face today. There is no any other alternative to this approach. At the end of the day, any conflict, any war in the world, it finally ends with talks.
True. And that is how we have seen in the past as well. That
so why should we lose precious lives?
That is true, and precious time as well.
Precious time before starting this dialogue. We should start it immediately. And I must say that, and I'm extremely proud of that. Recently, as you might know, there was some conflicts between countries in Central Asia, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. And finally, they signed an agreement. They signed an agreement, and they resolved and they addressed all these issues that they faced for decades. And nowadays, in Central Asia, is a region of peace and stability.
Excellency, the 13th session of the Pakistan-Kazakhstan Intergovernmental Joint Commission was also held in April this year. What were the significant takeaways or the outcomes of this very important session?
Frankly speaking, I believe that the 13th session of our Intergovernmental Joint Commission was a breakthrough in terms of developing strengthening our bilateral cooperation. So if you allow me, I will start from what we had in Karachi. Okay. So this event took place on the 28th and 29th of April. So our Minister of Transport, he visited Karachi. And in Karachi, we organized for the first time a business forum, Kazakhstan-Pakistan Business Forum. This time we invited more than 150 people from Kazakhstan. It was the largest ever delegation to visit your beautiful country. And at the forum, we had more than 300 participants. Just in one day, we signed commercial contracts and memoranda for more than $200 million. It was just one day, can you imagine? And most of these people, they visited Pakistan and of course Karachi, 95% I would say. They visited Pakistan for the first time. And frankly speaking, it was a kind of eye-opener for them, because when I spoke to them afterwards, they said that before coming to Pakistan, we didn't know what to expect. But now we see that there is tremendous opportunities for developing cooperation between our countries. Then our Minister of Transport, he visited Karachi seaport. We discussed connectivity, we discussed possible cooperation in terms of developing our partnership in transport and logistics. Then, by the way, the same day in Islamabad, we had a number of other delegations from our 10 leading technical universities. Yes, and we organized first ever forum of universities of Kazakhstan and Pakistan, where we signed more than 10 MOUs between different universities, including, for example, NAST, NAML, and many other leading universities from both sides. Then we organized first ever a fair education study in Kazakhstan for youngsters here in Islamabad. Then we had people from sports federations. They visited Pakistan Sports Board. They met with Honorable Minister for Interprovincial Coordination, His Excellency Rana Sanaullah. We discussed prospects for developing cooperation between our sports federations, and it was officially announced that the Chess Federation of Kazakhstan is going to open its first ever branch abroad here in Islamabad. Then our Mixed Martial Arts Academy is going to establish again the first ever branch abroad in Islamabad. So we are planning, inshallah, to establish Pakistan-Kazakhstan Sports Center Dostik, which would serve as a universal platform for developing cooperation between our sports federations. Then I was approached by our friends in Kazakhstan, and they were saying that we want to invite Pakistani Kabaddi Federation. Okay. Because Kabaddi, it's our people, they don't know what is it. And I want Pakistan to introduce Kabaddi to Kazakhstan. Right. And we are planning, inshallah, very soon to establish a Kabaddi Federation of Kazakhstan, with support and help of your great experts here in Pakistan. Then we had experts from the IT sector. They met with people from NADRA. They participated in IT International Conference, which was organized same days in Islamabad. And finally, on the 29th of April, we gathered, all of us, here in Islamabad. We held our session, and I must say that it was a very successful session. For example, when it comes to our trade cooperation, we signed an MOU to develop e-commerce. We signed a roadmap to boost our trade and economic cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. Then PUSKCA signed a memorandum with their counterparts called Standard from Kazakhstan. Then we invited a president of the Chamber of Commerce of Astana to visit Islamabad. This delegation met with the Rawalpindi Chamber of Commerce, with the Islamabad Chamber of Commerce. They signed MOUs, and soon we are planning to invite Rawalpindi and Islamabad Chambers of Commerce to visit Kazakhstan to discuss in detail what should be done for further collaboration between our two, between two societies, business societies of our two capitals. And apart from that, for example, our cultural capitals, namely Lahore and Turkestan, they signed an MOU to establish sister city relationships. So frankly speaking, it was a great breakthrough. And what we see is that, in the years to come, we will definitely boost our collaboration in many other areas.
That is wonderful. Speaking of trade, are you satisfied with the current trade collaboration that exists between the two countries? If so, do you feel there are more avenues that could be, looked into by Pakistan as well as by Kazakhstan? You've highlighted some of those aspects, but are there certain sectors that you are particularly interested in?
So in general, I must say that the Ministry of Commerce of Pakistan says that last year our bilateral trade reached $239 million. In fact, if we compare these figures with the previous years, I must say that something like 5-7 years back, our trade was not more than $50 million probably. So we are growing exponentially, but frankly speaking, of course, I'm not satisfied. We are far below from the real potential that we have. In December last year, I visited Karachi. I met with representatives and leadership of the Pakistan Business Council. So they did a research on economic cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan, and they see that according to their estimation, our trade can easily reach $14 billion. So can you imagine? So what we need to do, we need to unlock...
Almost 10 times, basically.
Yes, we need to unlock the existing potential. We need to create a framework, I would say a friendly environment for the business communities of our two brotherly nations to boost interaction, to boost cooperation. And, in terms of areas that we are focused on, I would say that we are focused on agriculture, on textile industry, surgical instruments, sports goods, pharmaceuticals. When it comes to Kazakhstan, we can offer cooperation in energy sector, again in agriculture, and in fact in many others. What we need to do, we need to strengthen this connectivity between our countries. And as another outcome of the last 13th session of our Intergovernmental Joint Commission, it was agreed that two sides will explore the opportunities for further strengthening connectivity, regional connectivity between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. Our minister officially said that we're interested very much, in your seaports, in developing our, transit potential, our trade with other foreign countries from, Gulf countries, Africa, Southeast Asian nations, through your seaports that based at the Arabian Sea.
All right. Speaking of seaports, it brings me to my China-Pakistan economic corridor. What potential do you feel that Kazakhstan could have if it also contributed to the BRI or the China-Pakistan economic corridor? Do you feel there are certain areas that you would like to invest in?
In fact, Kazakhstan is already a part of One Belt, One Road initiative. And in fact, it was announced officially in 2013 in Astana. When President Xi Jinping visited Astana, he delivered a lecture at the Nazarbayev University. And it was first time when he announced this idea that he is going to develop and implement this very important infrastructural mega project. And today, Kazakhstan is a part of the One Belt, One Road initiative, connecting the western part of China with the European countries. And delivery time is, 2 weeks in comparison to 40-50 days by sea. Can you imagine? And what we're trying to do, we're trying to transform Kazakhstan from a largest landlocked country into the land-linked country. So this is a very important part because Kazakhstan, in fact, for centuries served as a bridge connecting East and West in many other countries in the region and not only. And going back to your question with regard to CPEC, we believe that CPEC is an extremely important initiative. And as you might know, last year we held the first summit of China Central Asia. And it was officially agreed that we will be also, with China, Central Asia, we will be also developing this connectivity with South Asia as well, of course, with main focus on Pakistan. So that's why we believe that such kind of projects are extremely important for further regional integration and cooperation.
Speaking of regional integration and cooperation, you've evinced interest in collaborating with Pakistan in the energy sector, particularly when it comes to oil exports, electricity transmission. Is there any progress as far as that is concerned?
Again, during our last visit to Islamabad, as a part of the visit, we had a Vice Minister of Energy. And he met with his counterparts here in Islamabad, and they discussed a broad range of issues in terms of our energy cooperation. We are also in talks with Mari Energies, a part of the Fauji Foundation group. So what we see is that there is a very, I would say, good potential and promising future for developing cooperation in energy. Recently, Kazakhstan officially announced that we are going to join TAPI project, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. It's a gas pipeline. So what I see is that in the years to come, we will be definitely focused on developing cooperation in energy. As you know, Kazakhstan is rich of oil, gas, uranium, coal, so on and so forth. So we will be more than happy to share this wealth with our friends in Pakistan.
Inshallah, we'll be looking forward to that as well. We understand that your president, the president of Kazakhstan, is to visit Pakistan in the month of October. What are the modalities around this visit? What should we expect from this visit?
I must say that, first of all, this is the first visit since 2003. Can you imagine? More than 20 years have passed since, 22, since the last visit of our president. So I believe it should be another milestone, another breakthrough. Frankly speaking, I always stress whenever I meet with honorable ministers and the government of Pakistan, I always stress that I do not want to have another beautiful diplomatic talks. We should deliver some substantial oriented things. And we are focused very much on boosting our economic cooperation, on our cooperation in education, in culture, in information, in many other areas. Because what we see is that when it comes to cooperation between our two countries, it is not only about trade, it is not only about economic ties, it is also, and maybe first of all, about our cultural heritage, our historical heritage that we share. And in this term, we should deliver this message to the young generations from both sides that we are not just another neighbors in the region, but we are nations, rather nations which have so many things in common.
All right. Anything that you can reveal to us about this visit of the president? Anything, any important agreement that is maybe in the pipeline between the two countries that you could talk about? I know there are a lot of things that are kept secret, let's put it that way, or not revealed till such time that the president talks about it himself. But are there some avenues that you could highlight maybe?
I can tell you that, for example, we are going to establish joint centers between Pakistan and Kazakhstan universities. Then, as I said, we are planning to establish Pakistan-Kazakhstan Sports Center Dostuk. Then we are planning to sign a number of different bilateral agreements focused on security, economic and trade cooperation, IT sector, agriculture, and many others. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to develop a multi-dimensional approach when each and every sector of mutual interest should be, first of all, explored, and secondly, developed at full for the benefit of both sides.
You talked about the young generation of Pakistan, and that brings me to a very important aspect. I think one of the most important aspects of bilateral collaboration or cooperation is the people-to-people contact. I think the more the people of both our countries understand each other, the more we strengthen our friendship. What are the different measures that have been taken either by your government or by your embassy in Pakistan in order to promote that people-to-people contact?
In fact, what again during last it was in December 2023 when we signed an MOU to develop cooperation in tourism. Then we signed an MOU to develop cooperation in culture. During last Intergovernmental Joint Commission session, we signed an MOU to develop cooperation in information and in sports. So, as I said, we are focused very much on boosting our people-to-people ties. And what we believe is that this kind of collaboration can help a lot in terms of, first of all, deliver this message, to share information about the real situation on the ground in Kazakhstan and Pakistan. A couple of weeks back, we held a Zoom call between the Ministry of Information Broadcasting and the Ministry of Information and Culture of Kazakhstan, and it was agreed that we are going to boost our collaboration, that we are going to open offices, for example, of the PTV in Kazakhstan, in Astana, to cover, developments in our country. And on the other hand, our leading, TV channel agency, Khabar, will open its office here in Pakistan. So this is a kind of collaboration which helped to, strengthen our people-to-people ties. Apart from that, we are also focused very much on developing our cooperation in tourism. And during last session of our Intergovernmental Joint Commission, it was agreed that we will exchange lists of credible tour operators from both sides to develop this very important cooperation. And of course, sports federations. We believe that sports diplomacy should play a very important role in this term as well. Yes, exactly. And of course, our education sector. So this is a kind of, I would say, synergy that will help to boost our people-to-people ties.
Speaking of education, Excellency, during the recent visit of the Astana Medical University delegation to Pakistan, multiple engagements were held with leading Pakistani medical institutions as well. What, in your point of view, were the primary objectives of this visit and what was achieved through it?
Frankly speaking, it was my initiative. Because in fact, what we see is that as of today, for example, more than 1,000 Pakistanis are studying at our universities in Kazakhstan. And most of them, they're studying at our medical universities. And during last 3 decades, we have, I would say, thousands of Pakistanis who graduated from our medical institutions. And frankly speaking, I was deeply surprised to learn that as of today, we don't have any kind of collaboration between our medical universities. So this is why I spoke with Madam Rector, Anar Aqalbekovna. We discussed with Madam Rector this issue. And in fact, this is the best medical university in Kazakhstan. And I invited her, please visit Pakistan. Seeing is believing. Please meet with your colleagues from the medical universities of Pakistan, discuss possible collaboration. And it worked very well. We visited Islamabad and Lahore. We met with the HEC chairman, Honorable Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed. We met with representatives of the PMDC, Pakistan Medical and Dental Council. Then we visited National University of Medical Sciences, Rawalpindi Medical University, Shifa University. We visited Maruf International Hospital here in Islamabad. Then in Lahore, we visited King Edward Medical University. University of Health Sciences. Then we visited the University of Punjab. We met with the Minister of Education of Punjab, Honorable Minister Hayat. So, to be honest with you again, Madam Rector was deeply impressed. After these visits, during last day, when we had dinner, and I asked her, so what do you think about Pakistan? She said, I have never ever had this kind of idea that Pakistan has such a tremendous potential. And she says that we are more than willing to boost our collaboration with medical universities of Pakistan, with PMDC, because what we see, there is a communication gap. And frankly speaking, during these decades, we have had so many different consultants, middlemen, and those people who are just willing to make money. Yes. And they don't care about quality of education. They don't care about youngsters. My main purpose is to develop a transparent and fair environment for these youngsters to benefit, to make this system, first of all, beneficial for those youngsters who are going to, for example, travel to Kazakhstan and to study at our medical universities. And again, one of the main key decisions that was made during our last Intergovernmental Joint Commission was to establish a joint working group on education. And we are going to channelize this kind of collaboration through our official bodies. For example, from your side, it would be the HEC, Higher Education Commission. From our side, the Ministry of Higher Education and Science.
All right, that would be wonderful. But one of the things that was also discussed, if I'm not wrong, was institutional linkages between the two sides, between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. And of course, thank you very much to have initiated that, because I think it was a step in the very right direction. You yourself said the rector was so happy. She said she never expected the kind of reaction that she had. What about curriculum development, faculty exchange, joint research between the educational institutions or the medical universities of both regions? And also, there was this talk of establishing a transparent and fair admission system for students from both countries. How important is that as well?
It is extremely important because, as I said, there are so many different contractors, consultants who are just making money, nothing else. And the idea is to develop this transparent system. Then this is what exactly we discussed during the visit of Madam Rector. During talks between universities, leading universities of Pakistan, we discussed academic mobility. For example, we should give this opportunity to youngsters who are studying at our medical universities to have internship here in Pakistan. Because at the end of the day, they will be seeking for a job here in Pakistan. And this is why, for example, we met with Maruf International Hospital, and they kindly agreed that they are ready to accept students from Kazakhstan for internship. And of course, the same was discussed with Pakistani universities. Then we discussed exchange of faculty members. Because what we see is that we can also launch our joint research. With the University of Punjab, for example, we agreed to develop research in microbiology. With the National University of Medical Science, we discuss military medicine. So, frankly speaking, as our Madam Rector said, there are so many opportunities for developing cooperation between our medical universities. And just on Sunday, I got a message from Madam Rector saying that there are three other universities who are also willing to be a part of this collaboration. So it's growing. Yeah. This is why I always say that seeing is believing. But now we expect that Honorable HEC Chairman, Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, will nominate a delegation from his commission, from leading universities of Pakistan, to visit Kazakhstan and to boost further collaboration between our universities.
That is wonderful. I think education collaboration is extremely important, and I think this goes a long way, not only in establishing a robust connection between the peoples, but also between the youth.
Exactly.
Because if you give the right avenue to the youth of Pakistan, whether it be in the medical field or the other fields, they become better professionals. When they become better professionals, they remember because of whose efforts they became better professionals. So it, kind of links both the countries together as well as education is concerned. And I really am so glad that you are taking initiatives such as these, because education is the basic foundation.
Yes.
That lays the parameters for a better future generation, for our country, for your country, and for a better collaboration as well.
I forgot to mention, if you allow me, one more point. In fact, another very important idea was to adjust our educational programs according to the standards and requirements of Pakistan, to exchange this information on the programs that we have, and then to organize online and offline lectures of the universities, Pakistan, members of the University of Pakistan, for youngsters in Kazakhstan. We will be inviting your professors, members of the faculty of medical universities, to visit Kazakhstan, to supervise these people, to give lectures, and then the idea is to establish a joint commission, Kazakhstan and Pakistan, both, to sit together and to examine, our students.
All right, that is wonderful. Another thing that's extremely important, Excellency, is I feel, for a much more robust connection between the peoples of our countries is culture. We are both Muslim countries, majority is Muslim in your country, and we are a Muslim state. Secondly, we have a very rich culture, and so does Kazakhstan. What role could culture play in order to foster better relations and understanding between the two countries? And what measures do you have in mind as far as establishing a stronger cultural connection between two countries is concerned?
In fact, I must say that cultural diplomacy is an extremely important part to better understand mentality, to better understand, each other as the people to people, or even B2B, business to business. We should start from our cultural background. It's about, developing, raising awareness of our national identities. And whenever I invite my Pakistani friends to visit Kazakhstan, then I got messages that, we came to know that in cuisine we have so many things in common. Yeah. We visited mosques that we see that we have same traditions, and same in Pakistan. Whenever our people visit Pakistan, they also notice that there are so many commonalities between our two nations. So this is why cultural diplomacy is extremely important. And last year we were in talks, Ministry of Culture of Kazakhstan and Ministry of Culture of Pakistan. So we are planning to sign a roadmap. I am always advocating for roadmaps.
Okay.
To have very concrete.
Yes, exactly. It lays down the ground.
Exactly, exactly. And I always advocate for a 2-year program, roadmap, where we indicate, we are not planning to organize events, let's say, on daily basis, but let's say to have 2 events or 3 events or 4 events in a year, and it will help. Step by step, we should start from small steps. I'll give you another example. Back in 2023, we organized a fashion show.
All right.
Here in Islamabad. Then we organized the same fashion show in Lahore. And the idea was to raise awareness of local communities about how many things in common we have, even in terms of our clothes. And as I said, we signed an MOU between our cultural capitals, Lahore and Turkestan, and we are going to develop such kind of interaction between our musicians, between our performers, between our museums, between our cultural organizations, our libraries. So frankly speaking, when it comes to cultural cooperation, I can talk for hours because it's such a huge area for developing cooperation.
One last before we go to a little different aspect of our collaboration and of course your foreign policy as well. Tourism, you talked about tourism, you talked about collaboration in the tourism sector. What could Pakistan learn from Kazakhstan's tourism industry, or the way you have very successfully, managed your tourism sector?
In fact, frankly speaking, I wouldn't say that it is only about Pakistan to learn from our experience, but it is also Kazakhstan to learn from your experience. And when it comes to your nation, I must say that Pakistanis are the most hospitable people in the world. And when I say it, I mean it. And in fact, when it comes to our hospitality industry, so-called, we should definitely develop our collaboration. And we can learn from you, you can learn from us. Kazakhstan has some kind of humble experience in this term, and we have developed our, I would say, touristic potential so far, but, more things have to be done, frankly speaking. And this is why I think that we can discuss this kind of collaboration, learning from each other.
In 2020, 6th of March to be precise, the concept of the foreign policy of Kazakhstan was launched for the year the decade, in fact, 2020, 2030. What have you achieved so far? We are in the middle. We are in 2025. You've got more years to go. What have you achieved? What do you plan to achieve in the next 5 years?
I must say that, first of all, we managed to preserve stability, security. Secondly, Kazakhstan has been serving as a international capital of diplomacy. For so many years, we kindly provided a platform in our country, in our capital, as well as in Almaty, for having talks on, for example, Syria, Iranian nuclear program. Then last talks between Azerbaijan and Armenia again took place in Kazakhstan, in Almaty. Then we strengthened our collaboration with our foreign partners, and in particular with Pakistan. What I see is that our relations are growing, getting stronger. with European countries, with Russia, with China. We have so far, boosted our collaboration, and by 2030, we are planning to strengthen our positions as a middle power, as our president stressed several times, that maybe it is a time for middle powers to take responsibility for what is happening in the region, in the world. And Kazakhstan, being a middle power, being advocate for peaceful diplomatic solutions, is ready to make its own humble contribution to stabilizing the situation in the world.
Wonderful. So many good things happening as far as Kazakhstan-Pakistan collaboration is concerned. And I would give all credit to you, Excellency, for taking so many initiatives. And I really wish to see those, all those initiatives take fruition, and the results that come out, and how both the countries even forge stronger relations. And we are so looking forward to the visit of your president in the month of October, which will, of course, be a new chapter as far as our bilateral relations are concerned. Finally, Excellency, what kind of message would you like to give to our people through our channel, PTV World? It's also Eid al-Adha. I know you've got lots to say, whether it be our collaboration or our friendship, but is there a specific message that you'd like to give now?
In general, I would like to wish Pakistan and our brotherly people of Pakistan peace, stability, prosperity, progress, because it is not only for the benefit of Pakistan, but it is for the benefit of the entire region, including Central Asia. So we wish you this.
Thank you very much. Again, Eid Mubarak to you, to all your embassy members, and to your family, friends, and to your country members as well, all the 70% who are Muslims. And we look forward to so many good things happening between Kazakhstan and Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, His Excellency Mr. Yerzhan Kistafin. We talked about so many interesting, important issues that pertain to both the countries, that pertain to the collaboration, to the cooperation between Kazakhstan and Pakistan, and so many new chapters that have been opened thanks to the initiatives taken by the Ambassador of Kazakhstan to Pakistan. We look forward to that bearing fruit as far as the strengthening of relations between the two countries is concerned. And I think there are so many important events that are going to happen in the future for both the countries to show the world how friendships, how collaborations, and how cooperations are made, developed, and prospered. Thank you very much, Excellency, to have
Thank you so
joined
much.
us.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. We'll see you inshallah next week, ladies and gentlemen, with another episode. Stay tuned right here to Beating the World. Allah Hafiz.